Bro Kenny Ologun.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Good afternoon, everyone. And hope we've been enjoying God's blessing so far in the program. My name is Kenny Ologun, a senior consultant in a full-fledged cybersecurity audit firm. And would like to show you something today, right? To tell you what is currently happening and what is going on and how you can exploit it from our topic and our team. But before we go on, let us pray. Let's close our eyes. Father, we bless your name for the grace you have given unto us to be able to worship at your feet. We thank you for your blessing, your provision, your preservation. We thank you for the wisdom, for the knowledge, and the understanding of your word in the past few days. We exalt your name in Jesus' name. We pray that as we go on, you go on with us in Jesus' name. We bless your name in Jesus' name as we've prayed. All right, so I have a very small slide to share. Okay, great. We want to look at the cybersecurity color wheel. And I know that some of us must have been hearing cybersecurity. If you've heard about cybersecurity, raise your hand. Okay, you've heard about cybersecurity. Okay, great. I know when you hear cybersecurity, what comes to mind? Is there anybody that can help us? You hear cybersecurity, what comes to mind? There is no wrong answer. No wrong answer. We are not going to give anybody marks. What comes to mind? You want to try? Coding and decoding. All right, coding and decoding. When you hear cybersecurity. And I know that when others hear cybersecurity, what comes to their mind is something very sophisticated, like something very big somewhere. But no, cybersecurity is not as big as that. But before I go on and explain what cybersecurity is, let us read from our Bible. Can someone read Daniel chapter 11, verse 32? Daniel chapter 11, verse 32. But the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. So the theme of this program is Forge for Revival under Youths on Exploits. Now, two things that I want to bring out from this Bible verse, 32b. It says, but the people that do know their God, that's one thing, shall be strong and shall do exploits. The exploits is the applicability. The strength you get is the applicability of the knowledge you get. So if you understand the principle of the kingdom, before we go into cybersecurity, I just want to stir our hearts up. So if you understand the principle of the kingdom, without its application, you have no knowledge. You cannot be strong and you cannot do exploits. So as a youth that wants to do exploits, that wants to do what God has destined that they should do, you must have knowledge, and knowledge comes from the application of the understanding of God, of the principle of God. Let me give a typical example. The prodigal son has an understanding that if I go back to my father's house, there's every possibility that I'll be able to eat instead of sitting with swines and eating from swine. That is an understanding. Until the prodigal son was able to apply that understanding before we can say he's knowledgeable. So whatever we get currently, it is the understanding, the knowledge of times and seasons that gives us what exploits as a youth. And there's something that is currently ongoing that you and I need to know, which is cybersecurity. And that is where we are going to. Right? Technology has changed a lot of things. We are all using it. For instance, let's say there is a pastor now that still wants to do things traditionally. You want to go with your bell and ring bell in all the houses. Is it that your church will have stunted growth, or you will not even get anybody in the church. But technology has changed the way we do things now. You can see pastors on TikTok, pastors on Snapchat, various social media, and then they are still doing what? They are doing exploits. So because of the technology change, because of the time that we are in currently, because of the season that we are in currently, that we know that technology has changed a lot of things, we also need to understand how to use that technology to do exploits and how to secure ourselves as people. But we are not really going into security today. I want you to see the business part of cybersecurity and anybody that wants to go into the field of cybersecurity. This January, I was in a conference with different CISOs from various banks and various jurisdictions, and they mentioned something. Last year, we lost more than 80 billion naira as a nation, more than 80 billion naira to cyber criminals. That is banks. I'm not talking about other jurisdictions. Just banks alone lost more than 80 billion naira to cyber criminals. And this is telling you that there is a pot of gold in the cybersecurity space, because people are now, there's something we call the cloud. The cloud, when you hear anything, you hear the cloud, the cloud. So when you hear the cloud, we are not talking about the sky, but we are talking about people having their resources in the hands of other cloud providers like your AWS, your Google, and the likes. Now, because of the presence of that technology, there is need for people that can secure it for them. So they pay heavily, banks pay heavily. And in my audits, we see that most times they don't have people to carry out those roles. They don't have people to manage those processes for them. And then they outsource it to my own company or other companies, other competitors. So they outsource because they do not have people that can manage each of those roles. So this is opening our eyes to what cybersecurity is and how we can exploit it. If you want to go into cybersecurity, how you can exploit it and how you can be best at it and make money from cybersecurity. Next slide, please. All right. So where do we get started? Let's start with understanding cybersecurity and the different domains in cybersecurity. So I like to make it simple. If you want to go into cybersecurity, there are some domains we have in cybersecurity. So you can pick each of any of the domains, start with it, grow with it, and build from it. Now let's go back to the definition of cybersecurity. If you lock your phone, you have a password on your phone. That is cybersecurity. If you have a password on your phone, it is cybersecurity. Your ATM card, you ensure that your ATM card, you did not give it out to. Okay. All right. So your ATM card, you ensure that you did not give out the PIN to someone else. That is cybersecurity. I remember a friend of mine that got defrauded some time ago. You know, he was complaining to a bank, and then he dropped it on Twitter. He did not go to their DM, so he dropped it on Twitter. And then one of those cyber criminals saw it, reached out to him, and they sent him a message to send them the OTP, the code. The person gave out the code again, and they cut away some money from his account. So understanding those processes is cybersecurity. Cyber, talking about network and its constituent, the phone you use, the laptop you use, anything technology. The security of that is cyber security, right? I have a phone that we call Torchlight, Tonosobe, and that phone is passworded. Some of my friends will tell me that, why are you passwording this phone? Sometimes I laugh. I say, because I have the contacts of people on that phone. So if that phone gets stolen, and let's say, for instance, somebody just pick up, sees my contacts, my brother, and just text my brother requesting for money because that phone is accessible at that particular time. So cybersecurity is not something sophisticated, even though when you get to some certain level, you get to a particular point where you manage, you use some tools and a lot of other controls around that. So I want to show us some, what we call cybersecurity color wheel. This color wheel is showing the different domains in cybersecurity, the different parts of cybersecurity. And as a person, you can choose to pick any one of them. If you want to go into cybersecurity, you can choose to pick any one of them, and then you can grow with it if you have interest in cybersecurity. And We have the yellow team, we have the orange team, we have the red team, we have the purple team, we have the blue team, we have the green team. So we have been able to differentiate it based on this color so that it will give you understanding also, and then you'll be able to relate with it. Now, let's start with the red team that we call the offensive team in cybersecurity. Now, this different team I want to show us is needed everywhere in the world currently. Everywhere. There are people that make as much as 4 million naira a month. 4 million naira a month, that they get paid in thousands of dollars, right? Some get paid in naira if you work with a Nigerian institution. And I also know some Nigerian institutions that also pay in dollars, right? So you can be an offensive security person in cybersecurity. And I will take us through what that is. Can someone read Joshua 6:20? Joshua 6:20. Thank you very much. We know that story. The story of the wall of Jericho, right? And what happened? They shouted. They were in the offensive mode. They wanted to break down a wall. So the same way we have the wall of Jericho, right? I'm trying to bring out some principle of the Bible and see how it applies to real world. The same way they were able to shout and say praises, and that wall was able to come down. In cybersecurity, we have a particular group, set of people that we call offensive security. What does these people do? What do? They act as the bad guys. They act like the bad guys. They are not the bad guys. Let me give you a typical example. We know these guys that we call Yahoo boys. The Yahoo boys, they are the bad guys. But the people in offensive security, they act as if they are bad guys. So they are the ones that will behave to a business. Let's say, for instance, sometimes the bank comes to my company and they ask us to do something we call penetration testing. So we sign an agreement that they are the one that said we should do it. So when we sign that agreement, we act as a bad guy. So we can move money from the account of the CFO and put it in the CEO's account. Because we are able to do what? Penetrate into their system, get into their network, look for vulnerability, look for loopholes. And they were able to do things that on a normal day, people should not do. So why do they do that? These banks and co, they do it. Sometimes Apple will come up. The iPhone we use, they will come out and they will do something we call bounty hunting. They will tell you if you can break into their system, they will pay you $20,000. Because they want to test the security of their system. That is offensive security. So there has been an agreement, but this is what makes it ethical. There will be an agreement between two people that you want to carry it out. Because if you carry this thing out without an agreement, then they call you a thief. That is the difference. So if we want to do this for companies, we sign. They tell us, break into our network. They give us the go-ahead. Break into our network. Get into our system. Do whatever you can do. Sometimes you carry out the assessment, and then we are not able to do anything because the security is very strong. And then we give them the recommendation that, very good. Sometimes we're able to get into some company system, and we're able to remove information, remove files, get data without them knowing. So, and then we give recommendation on how to close these things out. So if you are someone that you are within this regard, you are within the offensive security, it's a big thing currently because technology is needed. Technology is used. I remember the first time I opened an account back in school. They had to come to the college, give me a paper. I had to write my name. But now you can open, I opened an account 3 days ago. I just sat down. Within 5 minutes, I opened that account. So in the process of opening that account, building up infrastructure, technology controls, system that can help us make life easy, there are other guys that are using that system to perpetrate evil. So they also need somebody that can sit within organizations, someone that can sit and act as a bad guy and always tell them that, see, somebody externally can exploit this weakness that we have within our organization. And then they are able to do what? To close up that vulnerability. So this is a high-paying part also of cybersecurity. And why are we telling us this, we need to have an understanding whether you are going into cybersecurity or not. Because I can tell us for free, we are getting to a point in time where whatever job you want to do, even if it's a shoemaking company, they will ask you how cyber smart you are. Because everything will go on technology. And you need to have the understanding of cybersecurity before you can get such jobs. So it is good that we have this understanding. So the offensive team, they simulate real-world attacks. As I mentioned, they act as the bad guys, like as if they are bad guys. So they simulate real-world attacks to identify vulnerabilities. What we call vulnerabilities are weaknesses. For instance, I went to a company. I did what we call physical security check in the company a few days ago. And part of the check is we start from the gates, see security controls from the gates, how they usher people in, whether you verify the person they are coming to visit. We get into the business, if there are CCTV cameras on place, if there are signages, if there are exit doors. So these are things we also verify. We verify them in case there is an attacker that wants to come and exploit the weakness that you have in place within your organization. So the activities that happens within the red team, ethical hacking and what we call penetration testing. So they behave as if they are the bad guys, but they are not the bad guy. They sign an agreement and they carry out this thing. So their goal is to strengthen your defense. So imagine somebody coming into this building. We are seeing this building are very beautiful. But once a structural engineer comes here, he can tell you some lapses that you will not see. Ideally, you will not see with your own eyes because that's not what you do. So if I come into this building, I can tell you from some physical security lapses, some controls that should be in place. So what is that doing? It helps you to strengthen your defense, and that's what the attacking team does. So they come, they try to go into the system, attack the system, and then once they identify those vulnerabilities, they're able to do what? To recommend to you to close them off. And then there are some roles that we have under this red teaming. We call them the ethical hacker. Ethical hacker is somebody that is able to get into a company system. But the word ethical is there in the sense that there is an agreement. It's either the person is working in the company or the person is a consultant to the company. So we have ethical hacker, we have penetration tester, somebody that's able to penetrate into a system. Something happened around last year or last 2 years where they were able to get into a government system and they were able to remove thousands of data of Nigerians, BVN and co. So imagine having the understanding of this process, you build yourself, and then you work with the government. You know how credible that is and you know what that we put into your pocket. So these are some possible roles that we have under the offensive security. So to talk about the other team, the blue team, let's read Nehemiah 4:7-9. Nehemiah 4:7-9. Nehemiah 4:7-9. Thank you. What happened? The walls of Jerusalem were down. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 9. Let me read verse 9. It says, nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God and set a watch against them day and night because of them. So the builders of the wall, there was a breakage. And then there were some people that are trying to build a defense system. And that is where the blue team comes in within the cybersecurity color wheel. The blue team are the defense guy. Now we have the red team. They are the one that serve as the offensive. They try to act like bad guys and then try to penetrate, look for vulnerability. But the blue team are the ones that play the defense. So if you are a football lover like me, you know how the defense can be. Somebody stays at the back and try to ensure that the bad guy does not come, those other guys do not come to score in their goal post. And that is where blue team comes in cybersecurity. So blue team a set of people that are able to put processes in place to ensure that the bad guys, I want to use the word Yahoo because we are much more familiar. But in the world of cybersecurity, it is heavy. There are some people that are even tougher than Yahoo boys. And what they're able to move away from companies, there's something we call insider threats. Insider threats. This is somebody that works in the organization. And that is where most of the money we lose currently in the country. That is where they go to. Someone working in the company. In fact, I still work with a company, a client, where some guys moved 50 million naira from the system. You shout Jesus. That's more money. That's more money in this space. Like, when you hear the amount they move away from companies, you'll be surprised. Like billions of naira, millions of naira. And that tells you the importance of cybersecurity, because companies really need people that are good and are able to manage these processes. Right? So, but the defensive guys are the ones that will put controls in place to ensure that you don't penetrate into their system and you don't get into their system. So what is the objective? What are the objectives of the defensive guys? They defend against cyber threats and maintain security posture. So they are the one that they know that they are bad guys outside. But within a company, they are the one that puts controls in place to ensure that people do not penetrate into their system. They build that defense system. Now, if a defense guy builds a defense system within a company, the attackers come. When you sign an agreement with the attacker come, they ask you built a system. You said yes. Then they want to penetrate into that system. So the attackers help the defensive guys to build more defense system within the organization. But in that case, you will be happy that the attacker that is coming, you have an agreement with them. It is an ethical one. Because if it is not the one that is ethical, that wants to defraud you, they won't tell you. They move within your system. They're able to take away your money. They're able to do whatever they want to do. Now, let me bring this down. Defensive, how can you even defend yourself as a person? Number one, you have your password on your phone. Number two, you do not post too much. People post too much currently. Some people, you know the name of their children online. You know their spouse. You know their address. You know everything about them. And then they will see that a bank is sending them mail, a bank that you did not open. Because somebody has been able to aggregate all of your information and use it for something you do not know. Some people, they take pictures. They are not conversant of their environment. You take a picture, you snap. Your ATM card is there. The CVV is there. The PIN, the numbers are there. And they're able to pick those information. So defensive security is you defending yourself, even though there's high level in the cybersecurity space where you need to defend an organization. But you as a person, you are defending yourself, putting controls in place. You don't post too much. There are things you give people. There are informations you give people. Now, a friend of mine reached out to me about 3-4 months ago. He just sent me a message. Ologun, how are you now? Ologun, who is this person? I said, I'm fine. He said, where are you there now? Like, where are you now? I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't know you. We went to the same school now, Yabatek. It is possible you have gone to my LinkedIn page to pick the school I went to. I said, okay, but I don't know you. You understand? Until I was able to verify the person, before I was able to give him information. So defensive is you are putting yourself in a defense mode. But in the cybersecurity space, these are people that put controls within organization so that attackers will not get into that system. There's something we call security operations. I was in a company that carries out security operation in Africa about a few days ago. And then, you know those movies that we watch where you see, maybe in the police station, you see big screens all around, and they are looking at the screen. That is what a security operation center looks like. So what do they do? 24 hours, there are people in front of that screen monitoring threats. People, 24 hours, they go on shift. There are people that will stay from morning till evening. The company feeds them. There are people that will stay from evening till the next day. There is no day that somebody will not be in front of that system. Those are the defensive guys. They are always there. And it's a job. People are doing it. People are doing it and they are making money from it. So we call them security operations analysts. So what they do, they look at threats coming into the company system, coming into the company's network. Once they see the threat, they quickly alert their SOC manager that there's a threat. So they would have developed what we call baseline requirements. So let's say, for instance, somebody is only supposed to come through this door. That is the baseline. Nobody is expected to come through another door. So if another person comes through another door, it sends an alarm that there's an issue with the system. So they see it. Once they see it, they pick it, they send it to their SOC manager. The SOC manager quickly works on it, they block that system. And that is a job on its own in cybersecurity. People are doing it, and you can build up from there, right, and grow from there. So what do? They do monitoring, incident response, threat intelligence. Sometimes they do not wait until there is a threat. Maybe I work in Providence Bank, and something happened to UBA Bank. I will not wait until it happens to me, because UBA Bank is an ecosystem. It's an environment. I will learn from UBA Bank. That's threat intelligence. That's part of what they do. They learn from UBA Bank, and they do what? They strengthen their own system. That's threat intelligence. So there are possible roles under defensive security: entry-level network security administrator, data security analyst, junior network technician, SOC analyst, threat intelligence analyst, and a lot of jobs like that. I know that some of the names may not sound familiar, but there are things you can read up on, and I trust God that you can grow with it. The yellow team, these are the builders. Let's read Proverbs 24, 3 and 4. Proverbs 24, 3 and 4. Building requires wisdom, right? And sometimes I see some people, they tell me, I want to go into cybersecurity. I ask them, what do you do? They say, I'm a developer. I'm a website developer. If you're a website developer, you're already in cybersecurity. Because all of the tools we use in cybersecurity, there are people developing them. So if you're a website developer, you can build cybersecurity tools. In fact, Nigeria is tired. A major issue we have is forex exchange. Most of the tools we buy, we pay in dollars, and it is heavy on the business. So if we see local tools that can withstand the test of time, you see organizations buying them. So if you are a builder, you are already in cybersecurity. You can build cybersecurity solution. Everything we use in cybersecurity, there are things we call SIM tools. There are things we call MDM. An MDM is a mobile device management tool. My laptop, if an MDM is enrolled on my laptop, I cannot install any application on that MDM. I cannot take it out of the country, depending on the control that the business puts on it. If somebody steals that laptop, the person cannot use it. They will damage that laptop. You cannot use it for anything. They will wipe it from wherever that laptop is. They will lock that laptop down. You cannot use it for anything. That's what an MDM does. But there are people that build those MDM. So if you are a developer, you are a builder, you are also needed in cybersecurity. Or maybe you are an aspiring developer, you can also be in cybersecurity. So what do? They design and build secure systems. They are like the network architects also. If you're a network engineer, you want to become a network engineer, they build. For instance, how I can speak here is because somebody has built a system, a PA system that can be used. So the same way we have tools, technology controls that are built in the space of cybersecurity. So they develop secure code and applications. They integrate security controls during system design. What they do basically is they build. I mentioned the defensive guys, where they are able to stay in front of a system. The application they are using to detect those threats was built by someone, by a developer. So you can always be a developer and then be a cybersecurity person, or you can come to the cybersecurity space of development. So we have the software builders, we have the application developers, we have the software engineers, we have the system architects, the network engineers also that are within this domain. So and we only talk about the blue team, the red team, and the yellow team because those are the dominant team. Other team are just combination of blue and red, yellow and black and the likes, right? So and then we have the white team, yes, which I will talk about lastly. We call them the governance, risk, and management team. The governance team. And this team, you can see, in between this color wheel, where do we have the white team? In the middle. They are very, very important. And this is one of the new oil in cybersecurity. And it's easy to learn from scratch, the white team, because you must have an understanding of the different domains of the other team. The yellow team, the orange team, the red team, the blue team, and the likes. You need to have an understanding of their processes to be able to do what? To govern their processes. And these guys, they are very, very, very important within the space. And I'll tell you some things that we see, but we do not know that it is because of governance, risk management, and compliance. They put standards in place, structures within organization. Let's read Exodus 20. We can read ahead, right? We can read Exodus 20 when we get home, right? So, but the story, so the space of the white team is talking about governance, risk, and compliance, establishing governance. Let me give us a typical example. Traffic lights in Nigeria. The red means stop, the yellow means ready, and the green means go. It's the same thing all over the world. It's not aesthetics. It's not because they want it to be like that. It's a standard. There's a standard that defines that. If you go to Chicken Republic in these states, the same recipe, the same jollof, the same food you eat here is the same thing you eat in another state. There is a standard for that, a food standard. And that is what governance can come. Every business needs somebody in this domain. In cybersecurity, we call them the GRC guys. So they establish governance, they manage risk, and they ensure compliance with policy. This part is easy to start with, but as you grow, you must also grow in knowledge. So what they do is they develop and enforce cybersecurity policies and frameworks. Now, let me give another example. Something happened during COVID, but I don't know if you observed. You can only withdraw 20,000 naira on a daily basis. So it's not. It was not because of COVID that they started that, and they have built that framework before. There's a framework we call Business Continuity Management System. Business continuity. So in the process of disruption, that is a problem. There are already built systems that should exist. Now, I was in a seminar. The man said they had paid a hotel for life. Maybe through trade by barter or maybe through money. That even if there is war in the world, there are some certain rooms that the hotel will never give out to anybody, only their company. That's business continuity. GT Bank, their data center got burnt around last year or last 2 years. One of their data center got burnt. And they had to move totally from that data center to another data center. That's business continuity. There's a process that has already defined that they must have redundant system in place. So that if there is a breakage, there is a failure in one, that's business continuity. So there are standards and frameworks that we can learn, and businesses need them to grow. Like there is a 27,001 information security management system. And that's why you see that some banks close up, but they are still able to pay people the money that is in that bank. Why? Because before you even start the operation, there's a certain amount of money you must remit to CBN for business continuity in case your bank folds up. So there are controls, there are things in place for governance, for risk management, and for compliance. And now, especially for those in the fintech space, there are standards that they must do. I don't know if you saw a news from NDPC. If you know NDPC, Nigeria Data Protection Commission, a news that came out that they fined OPay and Moneypoint 1 billion naira. We saw that news. There's something we call NDPA. Nigeria Data Protection Act. Is an act that protects the data of you and I and the data that we have within the country. So it's an act. Anybody that is not compliant with that act will be fined. Now imagine a company being fined for 1 billion. They need people that can interpret that act for them. It's English, written in English. You can pick it up, you can learn it, and you can grow with it, you can know it, and help organizations implement it. And every company in Nigeria must implement NDPA. Every company. In fact, we are getting to the stage where churches will implement it. I'm telling you for free. Because churches, they collect data. They collect your name. They collect your address in some cases. So those are personal data that they can use to get to you. So NDPA tells organizations to put structures in place, controls. I traveled some time ago, and I went to a particular hotel. And on their registration slip, I saw date of birth, name, address, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. And I just wrote James in the name and gave the lady slip. And I said, no, I cannot give you my details. I asked her, do you have NDPA? Are you certified? The lady was looking at me. She does not understand. What are the security controls within your organization that if I give you this paper and I leave here today, do you have a shredder to tear away this thing? She was looking at me. So I cannot give you my information. So it gives you that understanding. And businesses, hospitals, they do these things. They implement these things within their business. Everybody has to implement it. Every business has to implement it. There are other standards. ISO 27001, Information Security Management System. ISO 22301, Business Continuity Management System. For those in the fintech space, they must implement it. It's a standard. Because how do you hold billions of naira and you don't have security controls within your organization? So CBN is always after them. About 2 years ago, CBN closed around 1,000 microfinance bank because of these things. So if they are important, it means they need people that can do them. And it's a fantastic part in cybersecurity that you can also learn and then build from, right? So because of our time, I'll just run us through how we can be a cybersecurity professional. Number one, build a strong foundation. Start with basic IT skills, like just understand some of these things, how a system works, right? How the network works, and some other little information. That's how I started also, right, in the space of cybersecurity. Then learn how computers, apps, and the internet really work, like have basic understanding of how they work. Then choose a path. Choose a path, whether you want to be in the blue team, you want to be in the red team, you want to be in the yellow team, or you want to be in the white team. So choose a path. The problem that most people have in cybersecurity is that they are doing everything all at once. Today you see them, they are learning SOC. Tomorrow they are learning networking. Next tomorrow they are in penetration testing. No, you are going to miss it. So pick a path and grow with that path. Then develop skills and get certified. Develop skills, get certifications, right? There is a free training and certification. The training and certification is worth, I think, around $400 or so. But the organization have been able to push it out for free for people to do it and write it. So if you want to start your career in cybersecurity, I'll share it with the person that reached out to me. And then you can follow the link, you can register, do the training. It's a physical exam. You will go and write the exam physically. And then if you pass, you see your results immediately. And that certificate is used as entry level to almost all organizations currently. If you want to be a cybersecurity professional, the certificate is called Certified in Cybersecurity. So I'll share it with us if you want to take your career through cybersecurity. So develop skills. You start from there. Get certified, get certifications. And then hands-on practice also. As you get certifications, you develop skills, you work with organizations, you learn more, and then you stay updated, right? We have information, a lot of information. Things have even changed now. And it is painful that you see youths always on TikTok, not learning anything, or always on Instagram, not learning anything. You know, gone are those days when if people want to travel to go to Harvard, you do not need to go to Harvard again. Harvard is with you, in your hand, and you can learn anything. So when I started cybersecurity, I got into the company. They just gave me materials to learn. I was the one going online because they give you something little to push you. I was the one going online, learning and building, and currently a senior consultant. And before you can become a senior consultant in this space, you must have spent 7 years, at least 7 years. But I'm just 3 years in this space. So it is dependent on your zeal and your push. If you want to do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. And that is how I started also 3 years ago, and have over 16 professional certifications that you can name. So stay updated. You have your phone with you. Your phone can do a lot. You can learn things. Even if not cybersecurity, you can learn things. If you pick up some people's phone now, check their TikTok. By the time you scroll 3, 4, 5 things, what you see on that timeline is what they always watch. There's an algorithm. It is what you watch that they bring to you. It's an algorithm. So it is not whether they just want to give it to you. So if you're always watching biblical things, if I pick up your phone, I know what you watch. If you're always watching things that will elevate your spirit and will build up your mind and will strengthen you, if I pick up your phone, I know you don't need to tell me. There's an algorithm that pushes that to you. So spend time on meaningful things. That I'm not saying you should not enjoy yourself. Sometimes I can just go to Sabinus because I want to laugh. Understand? But there are times when you spend time to do or to get things as a youth and as young adults, right? We can grow ourselves and then live with integrity. This is not only applicable in the cybersecurity space, it is also applicable anywhere. We did a project for a client, and then the client reached out to me after we have finished the project, because when we carry out external audits, we are the one that will give them the verdict to say you can be certified or you cannot be certified. So when we finished that project, they reached out to me that they wanted to give me money. So they did not say they want to give me money because they want me to certify them. But they just told me that they want to appreciate me. And I told them that, no, that I'm just doing my job, that they should not worry. And it was just between two of us. But that information got to my boss. Do you know what my boss said? He said, Kenny will never collect it now. I know Kenny. You don't need to stress him. So build with integrity. And I remember a lady we wanted to employ some time ago also. The question was, she was serving a copper. She wanted to get into our company. The question was, have you started serving? She said no. The business was asking you, have you started serving? Because if you have started serving, there's a way they can do it. They can still bring you out from that company to our company so that they can start the process. The lady said, no, I've not started serving that. I just need a call-up request. Then later, the company investigated. They noticed that she started serving. She had no reason to lie. No reason to lie. And that's where she lost that opportunity. A growing firm at that particular time. Because when you work with a growing firm, they spend all their money on you because they need you to grow. And then she lost the opportunity, and we had to bring in other people. So you need to live with integrity and purpose in the space of cybersecurity. How did I get the job? I got 4 jobs at the same time when I finished school. 3 of them, 2 was site monitoring, monitor masts, Etisalat mast and co. They were going to pay 80,000 naira, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. You know, a young boy that just finished school now, you need money. The 3rd one, tech experts, they wanted to pay 120,000 naira. The 4th one is the job that I took. They said they were not going to pay anything, but they are going to train you in cybersecurity for 6 months. And this is the catch. If we train you, if you did not do well, we'll pursue you. So, will I go for money or go for knowledge? And I told the man on the spot that even if you want to train me for 1 year, as long as you want to train me for free, because I know the importance of cybersecurity. And I've grew through that company, went to another company in just the space of 3 years. Why? Because I followed purpose. And so live with integrity and purpose. It's not everything, right? It's not everything. Everything is not about money. That's the word. But learn first. I remember when the company just started, I went to our college. I just finished Tech then. So I went to the school. And then I went to meet ND2 students, computer engineering, that come to our company, let's train you. They were asking me how much would they pay. And I was laughing. You have no qualification, you have no competence, and the company wants to pick you up to grow, to groom you, and build you up. And they were talking about money. If you want to get into that company currently, you must know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. It is not where you can just access. And it was a company before that we were going to tell people that come and join, because we want to grow people. So live with purpose. Live with purpose and integrity. Wherever you are, let them know you for who you are within the organization, right? So that is basically the cybersecurity color wheel. And then I will leave us with, we as individuals, let us learn to secure ourselves too in the technological space. And you do not even have to come into cybersecurity to exploit the usage of technology. If you are an hairdresser, you are a baker, you are sewing, you can use technology to push your business ahead. If you are sewing, cybersecurity is also that when you record your video, you do what? You copyright it. You put your information on it so that somebody else will not steal your video. It's cybersecurity. It's part of cybersecurity control. So you don't have to come and do the sophisticated thing, but the little things that we do, cybersecurity is part of it, right? Not putting too much information out there, not pushing out. So there is a, let me call the name of the guy. We've heard of Tupac. What happened to Tupac? How did he die? The girlfriend dropped the location where they were drinking and they were partying, and within 15 minutes, some guys came in, they shot him because somebody dropped a location. So sometimes when I want to drop some locations, I would have left that place minutes or hours far apart before I drop the location. So some of us, we can be somewhere critical and we drop our location in real time, what we are doing. People see where you are currently. Understand? So these are some of the things we need to notice and we need to identify. Be careful of sharing also. Some of us, we just share our contacts with Facebook. Facebook asks you, do you want to share your contact? You share. This is the catch. Your BVN, some of us save our BVN as contacts on our phone. Am I right? Your BVN, bank details. The moment you are sharing your contact to Facebook, your BVN, every other thing is shared to Facebook. So if there is a breach, the breach goes along with it. And sometimes we name it as BVN. Share the contact. So these are some of the things we need to know and keep abreast of and, get to know. And then we need to tell our old ones at home also. Let them know about cybersecurity, right? You don't release your pins. You don't release some critical documents within your organization, right? So if you have any more information, if you need much more information at a later time, you can always reach me. If you have questions, I'll take the questions before we call it a day. If you have questions, need clarification, concerns. So this slide will be shared with us. So that we can read ahead. For those that want to go into cybersecurity, I will share the link on how to register and start your career in cybersecurity also with us. So if you have questions, I'll take our question.
What about the construction company that deals with writing of checks and the processes at the bank? There's a way they can do it and hack the system. So I want to ask, how can we go about that?
A construction company that writes a check.
They do write checks.
Yes.
For example, they want to award a contract. They want to get some stuffs. They will write a check that will have the person's name for you to take, or the company's name to take to the bank. So how would they do it if there's any breach anywhere?
So you mean if, let's say, somebody tries to write on behalf of the person, use his signature, can you clarify?
Like, you mentioned something about the green, the red, how the functioning is. So I'm not asking on which category can we put, like, I'm using a construction company as an example.
Okay.
Like those ones that write checkbooks for somebody to take to the bank. In a situation whereby hackers, like you said, now do something like that, probably get a code. There's always a code on the teller number or something that they take to the bank, probably do it online. How can they come against something like that?
Okay. So in cybersecurity, there's something we call physical security, right? And 90% of the time, if there is going to be a breach, there is somebody that will open the door internally for those guys that will come outside. I remember something that happened in camp some time ago where people dressed as ushers and they were collecting tithes and offering in the church. So how did they know the uniform that the ushers are going to put on? Because somebody told them. So if the guys are going to have access to that teller, understand the serial of that code, there will be somebody that would have given them access. Now, that teller, where is it located? That's the first question. Who has access to it? We're supposed to have access to that information. Those are some of the controls that will be put in place. Before that teller is being signed, the check is being signed and taken to the bank. And then who is taking that check to the bank? This is another control. Some companies, they already have somebody that must always come to cash the money, right? And we have tools now that are able to even go more than that. We don't even use checks again. Except in some rare cases, right? Now we have systems that are able to push out invoices online. For my own company, we have invoicing system that everything is automated online. You don't need to use paper and
The reason why I'm
pencil
asking
again.
is because they are not even their banks. That's what banks do. The only thing they do now to verify is like what you said, that you use online invoice. What they will tell you is that when probably the MD on the signatory to the, after signing it, scan it and send, they will need a physical one which can be duplicated anywhere. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not, the question I'm asking is, how can we do it? For example, anybody can just scan anything online, edit the company's profile, all those stuff, and just change the figures and probably copy the signature and put it. Like you said, you use online. Me, I'm talking about the physical before, but going about that, because I've seen something like that they scan the teller and send. That's why this one is a question. I said, like that one you mentioned down. The online one, how can we go about that? But the physical one I asked before, I just need you to buttress more on that. Not by somebody going to the bank or the staff itself. Those people, those hackers themselves, can we find them in the bank space doing something like that? That's what I'm asking.
So the truth is, anything can happen in the space of technology, right? And the same way we have hackers in the bank, the same way we have hackers everywhere, even in the church. Now let me give you an example. Especially when you go to large churches. Let's say, for instance, we have a very large room. This is Faithlife Assembly, right? If I come into Faithlife Assembly and I put on my Wi-Fi, open it, I will not password it. I will name my Wi-Fi Faithlife Assembly. People will start connecting. If you connect, I can get into your phone and start seeing the things you do. And that's why we speak against open Wi-Fi. So you can go to big churches. People will see free Wi-Fi. They take it. So even in the bank, it is applicable. But the questions around physical security is, if somebody is going to sign a check, first, who is signing that check? Where is that check located? Those are some of the questions we ask when we want to carry out audits. Where is the check located? Who is issuing the check? Who is supposed to take the check? Right? Some organizations have two-way, we call it two-way integrity, things that they have put in place. If somebody brings the check, then there must be another mail, maybe from the CEO or someone else, to validate that yes, we sent. So these are controls that organizations can put in place. Right? It can be in various ways. But even though we have controls, these guys, they still get wiser and wiser. And that is why we also build ourselves in the space of cybersecurity and then build more. Therefore, the online invoicing is just straight. It's a technological control. So most cases, when there's a fraud, it is somebody inside that did it, and it's easy to find them than an external person. But in the case of the teller, it's more physical security control. How that teller is being kept, who knows the next serial code, because the codes on that teller is not a code that anybody can just write outside. It's generated by a system. So those are the controls.
Sorry. The last one.
Please, you can see him after. We are starting the next session by 4.
Okay.
So please see him after. Yeah?
Okay.
So that you can tell
I'm
me
on the
one
group chats. We can, continue. Okay.
So please, you are interested in the free course. You heard the amount you're supposed to take, but it's bringing it to us free. So go to the desk there, put your name and your phone number. Don't worry, this data is protected. Put your name and your phone number, then they'll put you on the WhatsApp group. He will train you there. So you want to join just go to the desk there, your name and your phone number, and you get trained. God bless you. Please, with the next session, we are coming back by 4. So go and stretch. Go and stretch. God bless you.